Up until June 2018, Saudi Arabia was unique in being the only country in the world where women were forbidden to drive motor vehicles. The Women to Drive movement, Arabic, Qiyada al-Imara Suyudiyya, was a campaign by Saudi women, who have more rights denied to them by the government than men, for the right to drive motor vehicles on public roads. Dozens of women drove in Riyadh in 1990 and were arrested and had their passports confiscated. In 2007, Wahia al-Huwaiter and other women petitioned King Abdullah for women's right to drive, and a film of al-Huwaiter driving on International Women's Day 2008 attracted international media attention. In 2011, the Arab Spring motivated some women, including al-Huwaiter and Manal al-Sharif, to organize a more intensive driving campaign, and about 70 cases of women driving were documented from 17 June to late June. In late September, Shaima Justania was sentenced to 10 lashes for driving in Jeddah, although the sentence was later overturned. 2 years later, another campaign to defy the ban targeted October 26, 2013 as the date for women to start driving. 3 days before, in a rare and explicit restating of the ban, an Interior Ministry spokesman warned that women in Saudi are banned from driving and laws will be applied against violators and those who demonstrate support. Interior Ministry employees warned leaders of the campaign individually not to drive on 26 October, and in the Saudi capital police roadblocks were set up to check for women drivers. On September 26, 2017, King Salman issued an order to allow women to drive in Saudi Arabia, with new guidelines to be created and implemented by June 2018. Women to Drive campaigners were ordered not to contact media, and in May 2018, several, including Luhayn al-Hathlal, Ayman al-Nafyan, Aisha al-Mana, Aziz al-Yusuf and Medea al-Irush, were detained. The ban was officially lifted on June 24, 2018, while many of the women's rights activists remained under arrest. As of August 23, 2018, 12 remained in detention. Background. Main article, Women's Rights in Saudi Arabia Section Mobility. According to scholar David Commons, in 1957, Riyadh pronounced a ban on women driving. As of 2012, women's rights in Saudi Arabia were highly constrained in comparison to international standards. This included their right to drive cars and other motor vehicles. In 2002, The Economist magazine estimated that the salaries of the approximately 500,000 chauffeurs driving women in Saudi Arabia accounted for 1% of the national income. 1990 driving protest. On November 6, 1990, 47 Saudi women in Riyadh drove their cars in protest against the driving ban. They were imprisoned for 1 day, had their passports confiscated, and some of them lost their jobs as a result of their activism. 2007 to 2008 petition and YouTube video. In September 2007, the Association for the Protection and Defense of Women's Rights in Saudi Arabia, co-founded by Wahia al-Huwaiter and Fawzia al-Uyauni, submitted a 1,100 signature petition to King Abdullah asking for women to be allowed to drive. On International Women's Day 2008, al-Huwaiter filmed herself driving, for which she received international media attention after the video was posted on YouTube. Al-Huwaiter's drive began within a residential compound, where women are permitted to drive since roadways inside the compound are not considered to be public roads, but she left the compound and drove along a main highway. Al-Huwaiter expressed the hope that the ban on women driving would be lifted by International Women's Day in 2009. 2011 to 2014 campaign. In 2011, a group of women including Manal al-Sharif started a Facebook campaign named Teach Me How to Drive So I Can Protect Myself or Women to Drive that says that women should be allowed to drive. The women said that their campaign was inspired by the Arab Spring. The campaign called for women to start driving from June 17, 2011. As of May 21, 2011, about 12,000 readers of the Facebook page had expressed their support. Al-Sharif described the action as acting within women's rights, and not protesting. Wahia al-Huwaiter was impressed by the campaign and decided to help. A woman from Jeddah, Naila Hariri, started driving in the second week of May 2011, stating before in Saudi, "You never heard about protests. But, after what has happened in the Middle East, we started to accept a group of people going outside and saying what they want in a loud voice, and this has had an impact on me." Subaru, considering the fact that Subaru vehicles have a tendency to be marketed heavily towards women, in the U.S., a number of Saudi women and various groups including Saudi Women for Driving has asked the parent company of Subaru, Fuji Heavy Industries, to stop selling motor vehicles in countries where women cannot drive. Manal al-Sharif. The following week, al-Huwaiter filmed al-Sharif driving a car as part of the campaign. The video was posted on YouTube and Facebook. Al-Sharif was detained and released on 21st of May and rearrested the following day. On 30th of May, al-Sharif was released on bail. on the conditions of returning for questioning if requested, not driving and not talking to the media. The New York Times and Associated Press associated the women's driving campaign with the wider pattern of the Arab Spring and the long duration of al-Sharif's detention with Saudi authorities' fear of protests. Late May, early June. On 23 May, another woman was detained for driving a car. She drove with 2 women passengers in Arras and was detained by traffic police in the presence of the CPVPV. She was released after signing a statement that she would not drive again. In reaction to al-Sharif's arrest, several more Saudi women published videos of themselves driving during the following days. Why Not Rabini, a Saudi actress famous in the Arab world for playing in the satirical comedy Tash Ma Tash, broadcast annually during Ramadan, drove her car in defiance of a long-standing ban on female driving on 4th of June in Jeddah. She was detained after exiting her car and released the following day without bail. June 17, 2011. On 17th of June, about 30 to 50 women drove cars in towns in Saudi Arabia, including Maha Al-Qatani and Ayman Nafyan in Riyadh, and other women in Jeddah and Dammam. When she drove for a second time the same day, Al-Qatani was given a ticket for driving without a Saudi Arabian license. Al-Qatani was pleased to receive the ticket, stating to a Time magazine journalist traveling with her, "It's a ticket. Write this down. I am the first Saudi woman to get a traffic ticket." The Guardian stated that police appeared to be under orders not to intervene during women's drives on 17th of June. Late June 2011, 2 Saudi women were photographed by Thomson Reuters after driving in Riyadh on 22nd of June. On 29th of June, 5 women driving in Jeddah were arrested. The Saudi Arabian blogger Ayman Al-Nafyan described the arrests as the first big pushback from authorities. She claimed that the June drives were more significant than the 1990 protest, stating, when actually the 1990 protest was only 14 cars that had 47 passengers. From June 17 and onwards there have been about 70 documented cases of women driving. July to September. In July, Princess Al-Tawil, niece-in-law of Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, spoke about her opposition to the women driving ban on the United States, U.S., radio station NPR and called for women to have equal rights in the workforce, in the legal system, and in education. She described these human rights as more important than the right to drive. In response to criticisms of women's rights campaigns, she described her approach as evolution not revolution. At the end of September, Shaima Justania was sentenced to 10 lashes for having driven a car in Jeddah. The sentence was announced shortly after King Abdullah decreed that women would be able to participate in the 2015 Saudi Arabian municipal elections and be appointed to the Consultative Assembly. King Abdullah overturned the sentence. On November 15, 2011, Manal al-Sharif filed charges in the Grievances Board, a non-Sharia specialized court, against the General Directorate of Traffic for the rejection of her application for a driver's license. Al-Sharif had applied for a license in May 2011. The lawsuit was transferred to the Ministry of Interior. In early December, a member of the Consultative Assembly, Kamal Subi, submitted a report to the Assembly saying that lifting the ban would cause prostitution, pornography, homosexuality and divorce in the end of virginity. The head of the Assembly told women campaigners that he was still open to hearing the case for lifting the ban. February 2012. On 4th of February, Samar Badawi, a human rights activist who had driven regularly since June 2011 and helped other women drivers with police and court procedures, filed similar charges to those of Manal al-Sharif, objecting to the rejection of her own driving license application. Badawi was asked by the Grievances Board to follow up in a week. The Women to Drive campaign circulated an email about the court case. June 2012. On June 29, 2012, to celebrate the anniversary of the June 2011 driving campaign launch, a member of the My Right to Dignity women's rights campaign drove her car in Riyadh. She stated that she had driven about 30 to 40 times in 2011 and that about 100 Saudi women had driven regularly since June 2011. October 2013. In October 2013, there was a campaign calling for women to defy the ban in a protest drive on 26 October, which gained support from some prominent women activists. In response, the campaign's website was blocked within Saudi Arabia and Sheikh Saleh al-Lohaydan, one of Saudi Arabia's top clerics, said women who drive risk damaging their ovaries and bearing children with clinical problems. Interior Ministry employees had also contacted leaders of the campaign individually to tell them not to drive. However, despite this discouragement and a heavy police presence, as of Sunday 27 October Saudi activists had posted 12 films on YouTube said to be of women driving on Saturday. and said some other women had also driven but without recording their exploits on video or in photographs. Also, a YouTube film made by Hisham Al-Faqih and other male Saudi comedians went viral on Saturday to support the women's driving campaign, parodying the Bob Marley song "No Woman No Cries No Woman No Drive." Luhayn Al-Hathlul. On November 30, 2014, Luhayn Al-Hathlul made her move toward the Women to Drive movement in Saudi Arabia. As known, Saudi women are not able to have a driver's license, but Al-Hathlul previously obtained a driver's license from the United Arab Emirates. She filmed her experience of driving from the United Arab Emirates with the intention of crossing the border back to Saudi Arabia. As a part of the support of the issue of the Saudi ban on women drivers, Al-Hathlul filmed herself driving on October 26, 2014. Her videos had over 800,000 views, a hashtag on Twitter, and also over 3,000 comments on YouTube. The public opinion with Al-Hathlul's case was divided to two groups. One group was supportive to what Luhayn did, and the other one was not. Al-Hathlul tweeted her followers about her journey from the beginning. When she arrived at the border of Saudi Arabia, she tweeted that she was stopped by a Saudi customs officer at the border. Al-Hathlul tweeted to her followers to keep them up with her and said, 24 hours spent on the border of Saudi. She also tweeted, "They won't give me back my passport and they won't let me pass through, and no word from the Ministry of Interior." Complete silence from all the officials. Luhayn Al-Hathlul was arrested after she filmed her attempt to defy the ban of driving for Saudi's women. She was arrested for 73 days. Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Prince Mohammed bin Salman talked about the ban of Saudi women driving in an interview, and he said that Saudi Arabia is not ready for women drivers. The Prince Mohammed also said that women driving is not a religious issue as much as it is an issue that relates to the community itself that either accepts it or refuses it. However, he was later seen as the figure behind the removal of the driving ban in September 2017. Lifting of ban 2017 to 2018. On September 26, 2017, King Salman issued a statement recognizing the right of Saudi women to drive in keeping with Sharia. Licenses were set to be issued to women starting on June 24, 2018. Saudi authorities also contacted women to drive campaigners. Around 15 May 18, 2018, Luhayn Al-Hathlul, Ayman Al-Nafyan, Aisha Al-Mana, Aziza Al-Yusuf, Medea Al-Irush, and several other women and two men also involved in the Women to Drive movement and the anti-male guardianship campaign were detained by Saudi authorities. Human Rights Watch interpreted the purpose of the arrests as frightening anyone expressing skepticism about the Crown Prince's rights agenda. On June 24, 2018, as promised by Saudi authorities, several women received driving licenses and started driving their cars. Many of the Women to Drive movement and anti-male guardianship women activists, including Luhayn Al-Hathlul, remained in detention as part of the 2018 to 2019 Saudi crackdown on feminists. As of August 23, 2018, 12 remained in detention without any legal charges laid against them and without legal representation. In late November 2018, the Women to Drive campaigners detained in Dobbin Central Prison were tortured. According to Human Rights Watch, several of the women were lashed and given electric shocks. One was made to hang for long periods of time from the ceiling and one tried several times to commit suicide. As of November 21, 2018, the women had been publicly accused of undermining state security and aiding enemies of the state but had not yet been charged. As of November 20, 2018, according to the Saudi newspaper Al-Qaz, the women were to be tried at the Specialized Criminal Court, with prosecutors calling for prison terms of up to 20 years. In late March 2019, the women presented their defense and described physical and sexual abuse they had endured in captivity. Aziza Al-Yusuf, Dr. Rakai Moharib and Ayman Al-Nafyan were released on bail. International Solidarity. United States. An international new media campaign started in the U.S. to support women drivers in Saudi Arabia with tweets, pictures, and YouTube videos of people honking to support women drivers in Saudi Arabia, included Representative Nancy Pelosi and race car driver Leilani Munter. On June 15, 2011, women drivers in the United States organized a protest in solidarity with Saudi women, planning to encircle the Embassy of Saudi Arabia in Washington, D.C. In mid-June, 3 women from Minnesota, supported by an advocacy group, announced a gender discrimination complaint against Saudi Arabia's livery services in Rochester to coincide with the 2011 Women to Drive campaign. Recording industry. The music video to the MIA song Bad Girls, released on February 2, 2012, is a protest piece in solidarity with the movement. Elizabeth Broomhall, writing in Arabian Business, appreciated MIA for pushing boundaries to get the world to pay attention to women's right to drive in the kingdom, and for being a female artist who finally did something different. Lucy Jones of the Daily Telegraph praised the video for its stance against Saudi driving law.